It's just difference on the map, especially the fact when you take a look at some of the stats from Alpha.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. But to be fair, at least, we can see the confidence already from Atlan and Kino. I believe they've managed to garner some confidence when they fight against the top 80 carries in the PCS and are able to influence their own lane without the help of Catjug. But now I'm interested as we see AHQ banning out LeBlanc, Lee Sin. Will that third ban be a Rek'Sai?
Yeah, mainly targeted there toward Catjug on his Lee Sin. He's an absolute monster. We pretty much have highlight reels. We know what he can do on the Bloody Champion. It's absolutely ridiculous. On the side of Alpha, pretty standard bans when it comes to the red side, having to get rid of the Aphelios, and if they don't wish to leave open the Kalista to try and take back the Misfortune, usually that gets banned as well. I like this, though, from AHQ, targeting toward Atlan's champion pool in particular, because that is always a fallback for him as the Varus.
Yeah, that's true. Will HQ just pick up the Senna? Will Alpha... Because Senna has been insanely popular. Normally, you see Senna with Tahm Kench. Some of the teams have managed to improvise, pair it up with a more aggressive support. But now for Alpha, it seems to me they're going to settle with getting Kino's prominent picks in the support role.
Yeah, Kino always loves his Nautilus, but that does mean the Rek'Sai was left open during this draft, and it is going to be Catjug that is going to go ahead and lock it in. I like that he's aggressive on the champion. It's not out of the question to see a Phantom Dance or maybe an IE coming out in the late game for him. He loves being aggressive. But now that does open the possibility here for AHQ, if they wanted to, just go ahead and pick something up like the Kench, and then it's going to be very difficult for him to get on top of that Senna.
It just means that Alpha is just ready to challenge this Senna and Tahm Kench duo, who has been, this duo in particular has been winning a lot of games for the top 3 teams in the PCS. And meanwhile, you know what? If HQ sees Alpha might go through that early game route, HQ decides to fight fire with fire if they do lock this Olaf in for themselves.
All right, so Olaf here for Kongyu would be a bit scary. We've seen it once or twice during the split. It's always been kind of that niche backup pick when the rest of the pool is kind of taken away. That honestly, this is him being confident as there wasn't really anything else banned out. This, oh my, okay. This would be interesting to say the least, considering Misfortune is actually available. So that makes a lot more sense from Atlan. We did say there seems to be a curse of the Kaisa when it comes to the PCS, as not a single team has been able to find a victory on it so far.
Yeah, considering these are the top 80 carries in the PCS, not able to make the Kaisa work, already on her way to the 9-loss streak in the entirety of the PCS. But yeah, this does make more sense with the Misfortune. But now you have at least mirrored picks, so that's the top lane and at least the mid lane. It's the only one left for both of these teams.
Yeah, Zoe getting banned away here, and the Caston actually does draw a respect ban for Assassin on the side of AHQ, so not going to be seeing him on that one today, especially looking toward the later part of the game. But now you kind of have to look at AHQ's comp and say, all right, what do you want Uniboy on? Because sometimes we always saw Uniboy, he's not afraid to pick up something like the Rumble, but you're not really looking exactly at a team fight composition. You're looking more at something that can try and chase down members of Alpha.
I feel like we could probably see another Galio or maybe another Pantheon pick on the side of HQ if they do want to capitalize on how vulnerable a Misfortune is, since she's basically one of the champions in the bot side of the map that doesn't have a lot of mobility. So have to rely on Kino pretty much to relieve that pressure and save the AD carry. But if they do lock this in, it seems to me Corki could be that other buffer for the early to mid.
All right, we even saw a little bit of that Rise hover, but instead opted in for the Corki. So we've seen it pop up a bit here, especially into the playoffs in the later part of the split. Now for AHQ, though, are we going to see possibly the Cassiopeia get locked in here for Uniboy?
I'm actually a little bit afraid of the... Again, we talked about mobility. This could be Catjug's other option to gank. Aside from topside, since he does like to focus on topside a little bit more for Rock, considering, Aatrox is still open. He has picked that up, I believe, 10 times already, 11 times in the entirety of the PCS. So perhaps we might see a Renekton-Aatrox matchup at topside if HQ decides to pick this up.
All right, so there we go. Gets that locked in. We still have yet to see, actually, like, the set is available for Rock if you wanted to go for it as well. Set's been able to make it through all of this pick and ban here, so I'm a bit shocked, but Scion lock-in possibly for Rock. This would be a bit of a change-up I'm not 100% sold on it. Maybe I expect him more on something like a brawler, because we know what Rock does. He loves playing the Aatrox like that, so that makes a lot more sense coming out from Alpha. They're just teasing a little bit. Maybe those are the secret backup options if Game 1 doesn't go well.
Yeah, considering this is going to be a BO3 series for Alpha, they do want to get that momentum started. They've gone across several matches before where they lost the first game already, so they're no strangers when it comes to that situation. But when you're against AHQ, where for AHQ so far in their BO5s, they've been winning the first 2 games, so with that said, for Alpha, they gotta make this work.
Well, locked in finally here, of course, like you mentioned. Only a best of 3 today for both of the series, as we are in the lower bracket. 2 losses means you're out of the spring split playoffs. 2 wins means you move on, and for AHQ, especially after the fact that they got knocked down into the lower bracket, which I think a lot of people weren't expecting. The fact that we actually had all 3 former LMS representatives that came to the World Championship last year in the lower bracket after only our first week of playoffs, I think was a massive shock to a lot of people.
Exactly. J-Team had to, go home after this weekend, and now we still have at least HKA, AHQ in the lower bracket. And with this is going to set the tone. Alpha playing a little bit more standard. No crazy Kha'Zix picks for now.
Not yet, but we'll have to see as we go ahead and load on into the Rift. We got penguins flying. We got a Kench emote as well. I absolutely love it. HQ taking on Alpha for our first series of the day.
And based from their composition, they have each they have specific buffers at least to work to fall back to when it comes to the late game. But for Alpha, with the Corki and as well as with the Rek'Sai, you gotta hit a little bit harder first.
Oh, hello. Catchug is actually going to get slowed there, and he can be chased rather easily. He's able to sidestep away from the first axe, but Kongyu's still going to get that. They're going to get a flash out of the Rek'Sai here early as AHQ go for the invade.
No flash and burrow for that really sweet gank. So that is a really nice approach coming from HQ rather. And it just shows how confident they are when it comes to this matchup. Again, during the round robin, they managed to 2-0 Alpha quite flawlessly, I suppose, especially when they, individually speaking, during the lanes, they have won both of those matches. Only a little bit of a threat when it comes to Assassin on his LeBlanc, but this time, though, he's on the Corki.
Yeah, I gotta say, it's a bit confident to be having to flex the AHQ icon if you're on the side of Alpha, and maybe that was some little bit of karma coming back toward them as Catchung is, of course, going to lose his flash. And like you mentioned, won't have that flash on Burrow for those super early, maybe a level 2, level 3 gank, but nonetheless, we'll have to see as Kongya actually going to be starting his Raptors and then maybe going for a clear onto his red. Maybe actually going to go for something toward this bot lane if it gets pushed in.
Yeah, perhaps it's going to be a buff to buff, get that early level 3, considering there's HQ has yet to put at least a trinket on that brush. So we'll have to see if Alpha can set that wave up. Unfortunately, Wako at this point, Wako Ysera will reach their level 2 first, and they're poking the Alpha bot lane earlier.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe Kongi could go to that bot lane, but without blue, actually, Olaf runs out of mana very fast in the jungle. Catchug will be able to clear out his second buff, go to his Gromp, so maybe we'll see him come down toward this bot lane, but like you mentioned, it's rather difficult to get on top of Wako, especially the fact that there is going to be a Kench beside him the entire time, and already very early vision being put down here by AHQ to defend against this Rek'Sai.
Yeah, timing is perfect. We did mention perhaps mid lane could be that option to gank, since Cassiopeia will have to just rely on the summoner spells to be safe. And for Alpha, they do spot this out with the Raptors getting taken. So with that said, Catchug can monitor. He's got no Raptors to steal anymore, so Kongya wins this one.
Yeah, it's actually up to them to actually now ping this out, as he is going to be pathing toward the top side of the map. So it does mean for Rock, he might get a little bit of a heads up to play a little bit safe, but in comes Catchug. Going to go ahead for the Krugs and then maybe look toward this bot lane.
That could be a possibility. Especially, we'll really heavily rely on Kino's hook, as again, no flash on Burrow, and especially when you're next to a Kench as well. No summoner spells burnt, still pretty much complete, even has exhaust, so it will be a challenge if they do want to dive this one early.
And it looks like they're going to go ahead and back off. AHQ also had a sneaking suspicion that the Rek'Sai was nearby because they did spot him out on the ward. Kongya, though, going to continue just farming out toward the top side of the map, take a scuttle for a scuttle. There's going to be Mountain Drakes for our first elemental dragon of the game in about minute 20.
And with this first back, this would enable CatJug to gank some of the lanes. I'm guessing either mid or maybe even top, considering that both of these lanes have priority a little bit advanced. But for HQ, though, top side is heavily warded. So with that said, we did mention Uniboy's lane in particular can be capitalized upon, especially when Assassin reaches level 6 and has access to the pokes.
Well, you see Uniboy, he's actually set himself up for a bit of an all-in style of lane. He actually is not running the teleport, opting in for the exhaust for more of that 1v1 potential, especially against a Corki. That makes Corki pretty sad here as CatJug realizes, hey, someone's over here at the Krugs, and Kongyu doesn't really have much mana. CatJug's going to jump on in, looking for the knock-up on Kongyu. He's going to at least get the flash out of the Olaf.
Nicely done by CatJug here. He was the first to back, that therefore has more items. Meanwhile, Kongya decides to just clear it more first before anything else. But CatJug spots this out. Will not be able to cancel the Prey Seeker. But will this make him unable to reach bot side?
Even without a whole lot of vision there, I'm shocked CatJug didn't actually just go for a straight path over toward the bot lane. Instead, trying to just cancel the back of Kongyu, maybe waste a little bit more of the Olaf's time. But nonetheless, nobody going to fall down, and it is going to be a pretty quiet first 5 minutes into the map because of, I believe, CatJug just not having his flash. He couldn't really go for one of those flashy plays that we often see from him early on.
Yeah, considering, especially when we look at top side, I guess he's just respecting the potential of Kongya to do a counter gank. But I am looking forward to perhaps a play in mid lane. You did mention that, you know, Uniboy not having that teleport, he does have that exhaust, and therefore can have at least that additional summoner spell to escape the clutches of a potential gank from CatJug.
You can also see up in that top lane, the matchup is going pretty heavily towards Civ, because that's going to be a big wave crashing into his tower, and he's going to get there without having to burn his teleport. He actually rushed an Executioners just to try and counter Rock directly, so in the 1v1 he's not going to have as much healing, especially now that he has hit level 6 and is Rock and the Conqueror. So I think for this here, for AHQ, this is actually a nice change of pace for Civ, because Civ has always pretty much just gone even in the lane. Sometimes he actually falls behind. This one he's actually starting to find himself a decent advantage.
And I think it has something to do with Kongya on this Olaf, still a lot of respect on the early game damage, and not able to, especially once Kongya reaches level 6, it'll be definitely hard to try and outduel this Olaf and as well for next week. It's a lot of sustain, and with the Executioners too, just a little duel between the two.
Yeah, Rock actually opted to go into the Ninja Tabbies, so Civ's damage gets cut down a little bit there. So you take a look at the gold. Mainly only advantage for AHQ is up in this top lane. That's where all their gold lead is sitting right now, as every other lane is practically even.
Yeah, we did. This is actually a huge improvement when it comes to Alpha in particular, because when we look at the round 1, round 2 performances, AHQ individually has won that lane by a landslide against Alpha, but now it's even and it's actually pretty calm. So Alpha is doing a good job as well, being safe in the lane and making it even.
Well, here comes CatJug. Does have his flash available, so maybe looking for a possible dive here with Rock onto Civ. Instead, though, just going to go ahead and start clearing out the jungle, and actually that's very unfortunate back timings coming out there from Kongyu as well as Uniboy, as they're not going to be really able to contest this blue buff that now looks like CatJug is going to be able to take completely fine. And even with the Executioners, Civ losing out on these matchups as Rock is still able to sustain.
Rock, this is his favorite champion. He's played this 11 times. I believe this is his 12th time already in the PCS. He's just really mechanically skilled when he's holding this champion, and he's comfortable, and I think this is the reason why he's quite comfortable when it comes to the lane.
Well, I see Kongya, though. Going to go ahead and start up the Rift Herald, and For once here, we're not seeing Alpha trying to get really gutsy. Finally, though, action takes place up toward the top lane. Civ still looking to hunt down here. Konga is nearby, but he is still kind of preoccupied with this Rift Herald, so it doesn't look like he's going to be able to do anything to help out. Uniboy, though, is going to rotate over, and Wako as well as Ysera also up here. 5 members of AHQ. Means they're going to go ahead and pick themselves up the Rift Herald to start the match off.
Nicely done. HQ, though, Alpha still has a lot of vision covered on the top side of the map of HQ, but still mission accomplished. This would mean a trade, at least for Alpha, as HQ's bot lane has rotated to get that Rift Herald.
You also saw there, Ysera actually ended up using his ultimate to try and bring Wako a little bit closer to the pit, but Dragon was already taken here from Alpha, so it will be the trade of the Drake for the Rift Herald. And it's more or less up to HQ to be able to make that worth a little bit more gold than it currently sits at in the back pocket of Konga.
HQ locked the Renekton as well as this Olaf. They're hoping for most likely either the second Drake or maybe the second Rift Herald, where they can fight Alpha head on with these early game champions. Unfortunately, Alpha has been doing a good job avoiding conflict so far, so not a lot has been earned yet still for this Renekton pick in general, and as well as for Konga, who desires to get ahead early via kills as well.
There we go, Assassin's going to be able to also pick up his first blue buff of the game on that Corki. Be able to just go ahead and poke away against Uniboy, who doesn't have a blue buff of his own, but he does have a lost chapter in the tier, so he'll be quite fine as he's looking to build that into Archangel staff. Oh, jeez. Can't speak today, it seems. But yeah, nonetheless, it's still just pretty quiet. Both teams are just happy farming away, and we're kind of already seeing the attitude of, yeah, our late game's better. We'll win on both of these sides.
Exactly, and I feel like for Alpha, again, they've managed to evolve in a way where they're comfortable playing these 5v5 team fight compositions with them chasing Ziv.
Does he have his dash still available? No, he doesn't. He's forced to flash away, so they're able to get that at least out of the Renekton. But other than that, Catchout just goes back into the jungle trying to get an invade. Try and maybe find some more farm, and that's just siphoning gold away from Konga at this point, as he's still kind of in the river. And I'll give it to Catchout, of all people, to be ahead this far against Konga is actually very impressive. He's got 2 levels. Civ is able to dash over the wall. He might be going for a dive here. That's going to be the ultimate pop. Dominance is used immediately. Maybe Catchout going a little bit too aggressive. Rock underneath the tower, able to find the first knock-up. And that's going to be first blood going in favor of Alpha.
Nicely done by Alpha here, and it was the punish for Ziv. Just wanted to clear out that control ward in that brush, but guess what? There is another at that brush near the blue buff again.
Uniboy.
Valkyrie out. Assassin's gonna be safe for now.
Able to, you know, flash forward with the Petrifying Gaze. Doesn't really line up here. Let's take a look. It was just Civ that was just trying to at least clear out the vision, but Catjug's sitting right by.
Exactly. It was a easy kill considering Rock did have that priority at top side. Flashing for the Q, for the knockups, for the damage, and unfortunately, the Senna ult will not be enough and not in time.
Well, there you go. If you're Alpha, you're pretty happy that you're able to finally get a first blood. Hook is going to land into the bullet time, but Ysera instantly eats up his carry, and that's going to be Wako staying alive and healthy, as Rift Herald is going to be popped in this bot lane as we want to try and accelerate this Senna off these plates.
Yeah, usually, you know, there are 2 choices. Either do you want to strengthen your Renekton and allow that to be your buffer when it comes to like the early dragon fights, then maybe not. Wako here will be accelerated on this Senna. It works well, since before, Atlan really did have a difficult time facing Wako and Ysera at the bot side of the map.
Yeah, Alan actually ended up using his teleport on the 2nd tier tower to try and get back to that as fast as possible, so it does look like he lost down a little bit of CS, so that's not the end of the world at least, as Catchug goes back into his jungle, and I was interrupted when he went for that kill, but he's been able to actually get himself a rather decent lead when it comes to experience. Konga only just ticked over to level 8, whereas Catchug's been farming just non-stop with these also appearances in the top side of the map, where he's just been able to outfarm Konga so far.
Yeah, I feel like for Kongya, there's only one exchange so far, which was that Raptor camp. But after that, Catjug has been power farming, focusing more as well on invading the jungle, even managing to get that blue buff, which slowed down Kongya a little bit, and as well as Uniboy. Yeah, and that kill really did help, as has been setting up that lane for Catjug to visit.
They're just going to go ahead and throw that out. Meanwhile, back toward the top lane, Rock has yet to finish off his Black Cleaver. We are starting to see some items, though, start to come online here on the side of AHQ, and that might be now an opening for them to start looking to get a little bit more aggressive. Catjug just even waiting for the spawn of his Raptors just to clear it. Guy trying to be as efficient as possible when it comes to his pathing, it seems. Kongya, though, maybe looking for a play here in mid lane. Uniboy does have Petrifying Gaze available, but is spotted out here by a ward.
Double control wards for AHQ. Kong is still hugging the walls. They're sitting on top.
Oh, in comes Kench, looking for a play. But again, Alpha, a Catjug, and Assassin able to get themselves to safety. But in maybe comes a pincer here as Kino and Atlan are looking for a flank. Rock is also joined in. This does give Alpha a bit of the inside track toward the next dragon. Civ, though, has come down, so we're looking at possibly a decent-sized team fight here in the mid lane over this dragon. Both teams really want to try and concede. Like we mentioned, you have items starting to come online. Staff completed there for Uniboy. You also have Warrior Enchant for both jungles, so maybe they're both looking for it. But the Glaive actually being completed for Waka was rather good to have, only over just the BF Sword of Atlan, as the Misfortune is going to do a ton of damage right away with the bullet time. Alpha looks like, though, they're getting control over the pit, and AHQ may concede.
Good thing, though, even though they have a Corki for Alpha when it comes to the Dragon Dances to allow Alpha to poke, they have sustain in the form of Wacko's Senna.
Both teams getting darn close here as both of them itching to pull the trigger. Instead, though, it looks like AHQ are able to run Alpha back. That allows them to get a little bit of control over the dragon. It's still a little messy here, but Rift Herald might be the new target for Alpha, as you already see Rock pathing up toward the top side.
This is an absolutely different Alpha. Usually, you see them, if they see an opportunity, they pull the trigger and commit a 5v5. But this is very refreshing to see. I think it has something to do with, you know, they have to face AHQ, and it's that last chance. It's a do or die situation. If you lose this series, then you're out. And as well as momentum is needed, because it is a BO3. And with that, perhaps Rift Herald could be the next fight that Alpha want to take, or perhaps play a little bit safe, maybe poke out Uniboy since he doesn't have teleport, then perhaps make it a temporary 4v5.
Yeah, they do have package available for Assassin if they wanted to go for this play, as he's just going to go ahead and clear out his blue buff at the moment. You also have Catjug and Rock already on the top side of the map, so for Alpha, they got the numbers advantage if they want to try and go for this, as Kongyu's just heading out of base now, and they also have scuttle control, so this might be just the main play here for the side of Alpha.
Unfortunately, for HQ, that will be the first tower going down, as the Rift Herald already did some early damage on that bot side tower. For Assassin, he wants to at least get that first, but Uniboy is around, so perhaps that will be denied.
We'll see here. It does look like they're able to hold on just a little while. Meanwhile, bot lane, though, it is getting a wave push, so it looks like AHQ might be able to sneak away this first tower of the game, and they will, getting it onto Yasura, so Kench gets tankier as the game goes.
Yeah, that is the trade. You saw how Assassin just want to hurriedly push the mid lane just to get first tower. Unfortunately, Uniboy was around. But what is the exchange for Alpha here, as they did manage to get the Rift Herald? And for bot side, I think it's the healthiest of towers, so perhaps they will try and put that there instead.
Well, Rift Herald's going to be popped actually toward the top side of the map, so it looks like Rock is going to get some assistance. Catjug is just escorting it over. Civ got to be a little bit careful as Kino's nearby. And there it is. It's going to be Alpha at least trading back the tower. Meanwhile, bot lane, though, they're still able to get some decent push there onto the second tier tower.
And you can see Atlan's respect, as he's not exactly near enough to clear the waves because Kongya is around. This is a trade that Alpha is willing to take, so they really want to get this tower.
Oh, Rock is going to get stunned up, and he's underneath the towers. Nowhere for him to run. He does actually be able to get the flash over to safety. So he has that at least, but that's going to be a summoner down. as Alpha were trying to trade back with the second tier tower. Meanwhile, bot lane was already taken, though, by AHQ, as Kongya and Nicero were able to continue to the push. And like you mentioned, Atlan can't really do anything as a misfortune against an Olaf. He could try kiting, but the Olaf will try and run him down very easily. So question is kind of becoming here, I feel like both of these teams aren't being aggressive at all. For Alpha, I think they're happy with it because A, you're going to have a misfortune that's going to scale up into the crit items. You're also going to have a Corki now that's on 2 items now complete already. No one's really dealt with Assassin here so far, and he'll just have a bunch of upfront bursts, and it's going to be very difficult for Uniboy or Waiko to stay safe without having to expend ultimates or flashes.
Yeah, that's true. They do have that misfortune to fall back on just in case Assassin will eventually fall off at the later parts of the game, and as well as Rock, once he has the 3 items on his inventory. But for Alpha, the question is, how can they adjust with the exchange? Top side, not even the top side inner tower, not even destroyed just yet, but at least you can see Assassin already clearing that out for bot side.
And there we go. That's going to be 3rd tower secured there by Alpha. Uniboy is just trying to push up top lane, but this really feels like a game where it's just AHQ not doing a whole lot on the map.
Yeah, it's they're playing rather safe in a way that, okay, fine, because we have a scaling Senna, we have a scaling Cassiopeia, that's fine, because if Alpha decides to start a fight, we have that buffer at least, which is Ziv and Kongya, to fight them head on. Unfortunately, when it comes to the actual 5v5s, they will lack that big AoE bullet. They will lack that big AoE. So I think a lot of weight will be shouldered by Atlan later on.
Yeah, it's going to be really up to AHQ. They got to try and find picks. That's kind of what they're aiming for, trying to chase down the squishy members of Alpha during a very extended team fight if they're able to survive, maybe. But we'll have to see what they plan on doing here, as it's starting to get to a point where something needs to kind of happen for AHQ, or else Alpha are going to continue just kind of scaling up, as already see 5 members of Alpha and CapJug with a flank. Civ does know he's nearby, though, as they did have a ward down. Looks like AHQ, though, want to go ahead and start up this Drake, but they already got multiple members of Alpha starting to rotate toward topside.
It seems to me they are... This is actually very refreshing to see coming from Alpha. It's very different considering most of their successful games come from early game aggression, constant ganks coming from CapJug, maybe even Rock getting ahead in 1 or 2 kills and join the fights later for the 2nd and actually 3rd dragon. So this is very uncharacteristic of Alpha, which they've attempted many times before, this sort of play style. Let's see, though, if it's going to work, because you're right, they're waiting for more items on Atlan at least. Assassin's still not maxed on his mana or his Muramana, and I think that's what they're waiting for to be comfortable in the fights.
All right, so they got Leandri's here for Uniboy. That's come online. I swear, if you took a look at the score in time, we'd be watching a Talon game for the first week of the season, as it's been almost 22 minutes and we've only had the single kill coming out of Alpha, which is, again, this is just a little bit uncharacteristic from Alpha in particular. It's a different change of pace. I don't know if it's necessarily for the best, but we'll have to see, as, again, Alpha are just going to go ahead and clear out the wave in mid lane.
And it's all about, okay, so fully stacked up for Assassin already. So for Alpha, they do want to take advantage of more global presence with the triple teleports, I suppose, later into the game, and take advantage of the number advantage. I feel like that could have worked earlier on when the laning phase still sort of existed, but unfortunately, AHQ managed to transition really well, but as you can see, a lot of big pokes are already coming from Assassin.
We're going to clear that out as Assassin heads up toward the top side. Speaking of number advantage, he had 65,000 stacks on his call for some reason. It looks like it started. I think that was just a bug on Spectator, and it finally went away. I was like, why did it say 65,000? Oh, that's gonna take him. That's gonna take him a couple weeks. Okay.
Shock.
Oh boy.
Shocking. Okay, so split push already for Rock at bot side.
Here we go. AHQ looking to try and make something happen here as Rock is pushed very far forward. Doesn't have a whole lot of vision, but he is an H-Rock, so he's able to just pop the ultimate and go away. That is actually now Ysera and Kongyu that are now on the bot side of the map. They're actually lucky that Alpha didn't try and actually make a play happen. Especially the fact that, you know, you do have a Corki, you also have a Misfortune. They got some decent damage, but Ysera trying to step forward, trying to at least meet up Kino here. Kino, though, able to get himself to safety, Spider-Manning onto the tower, and Assassin's just going to get a free push in top lane.
This is the third playstyle that I've never seen before from Alpha, which is create chaos in different parts of the map, just try to split push, and see where they can go from there. And this is, again, we keep mentioning uncharacteristic. I like it though because HQ is not expecting this since they really are trying to anticipate, but nothing is actually happening from, especially coming from Cat Jug.
Yeah, he's just going to continue farming. Like, this is the most heavy farm Rek'Sai we've probably seen. Like, the fact that he's keeping up to close to about 8 CS per minute, again, as a jungle, by the way, is a bit ridiculous. And it's just like, this is the least proactive I have seen either one of these squads. Like, I've never seen AHQ just kind of roll over and just let a game just kind of dissipate like this. I know they've played slow before, but you've kind of never seen any pressure now go on to Assassin. He's sitting on a 1,000 gold lead over the Cassiopeia. Alpha have been able to just find small increases in their gold by simply siphoning gold out of the jungle of AHQ by stealing camps. Objectives have just gone their way. It just feels like I'm not watching the right team.
Exactly, and if we look at round 1 and round 2 between these two teams, HQ would have been extra active, especially at bot side, and just help propel the growth of Wacko and maybe even Uniboy if there's a ton of kills and assists in the form of perhaps maybe an Galio. For Alpha, this is also completely different. Now they're setting up party brushes and seeing where HQ is going to move first before they can make a move themselves.
All right. Alpha, though, have inside track, so AHQ, they have to back off here as there's a risk that if they try and push too far forward, they can either get flanked around, and Ketchuk is just stealing camps non-stop, just pathing through, even with the help of Assassin Kong. He's not even getting any gold here.
Exactly. And for HQ, they've definitely created this composition as a reactive measure to Alpha's constant supposed aggression. Fortunately, it's not there. It's not there, rather. They're gonna munch this dragon real quickly, as HQ will actually start the Baron right now.
AHQ with the Cassiopeia is able to do quite well on the Baron. So that's one thing Alpha do have to recognize that they could, but AHQ, they're pathing. The positioning here is just all over the place. They at least get the hook out from Kino. The bullet time will come down from the Dredge. That is a decent amount of damage going on to Waco, and they're not able to finish him off. Assassin trying to kite back. He gets himself to safety, and this is just... it's such a weird game from AHQ. I'm almost speechless. It doesn't look like the AHQ we've seen at all any time this season.
Imagine they 2-0'd Alpha in the round robin, and they're second place in the overall standings in the PCS. This is a complete mystery to me. And I think it's because they assembled a more reactionary composition. They don't really have that reliable AoE engage like perhaps as a Juwani, or maybe even that single target engage with perhaps a Thresh. That's the problem with this composition. They can only be reactive and wait for Alpha to strike first and outplay from there. Or maybe even a surprise Abyssal Voyage and get the numbers advantage, but so far that hasn't exactly been working.
Okay, looking to get a jump here on Assassin as they're able to actually catch him. Is he able to... oh no, he's shopping. Assassin, you gotta look at your monitor, buddy. Gets himself over to safety with the Flash Valkyrie, but without that, they're not able to pick anything up, and I'm rather shocked Alpha didn't actually try and go for a Baron here because they saw Kongyu on the bot side of the map. Without a teleport being available to him, he wouldn't have been able to contest. All right. We finally saw something come out of AHQ, and Alpha just kind of let it happen.
I'm shocked. It's almost at that 30-minute mark. Usually we see a clear picture who's ahead and who is ready to win. But this is insanely even. When it comes to the gold lead, though, there's Alpha. And now we see pings coming from AHQ on this Baron. Unfortunately, Alpha do not have enough information just yet, except in the deeper parts of the jungle of AHQ. But mid lane, though, is about to fall. So if they play around with the rotations and trying to distract HQ elsewhere, they can take another tower down, if ever.
There we go, back into this mid lane clear for now. So you see Alpha. They position themselves on the top side of the map. The simple fact here is AHQ have just let Alpha gain full control of the top side of the map. They haven't really put any ward coverage down. They're trying to defend against Cloud Drake. But if you're banking on Elder Drake in like 40 minutes, sure, maybe, okay. I'm still not sold, especially now that we've now hit the 3 item spikes on, say, the Corki, and there we go. Kino getting very aggressive, trying to jump in immediately onto Uniboy. That's going to be the teleport coming on out, and this is just a messy execution from both squads. Civ teleported to at least try and equal out the fight. Rock is slow, but not going to be engaged upon, and I don't understand. You just had everything blown on the side of Alpha, and AHQ just watched them.
Alpha actually also retreating, so for HQ, they're not able to fully engage. Again, there's not a lot of options for them to get that reliable engage to start a fight, or probably re-engage. They will have to just hope for Wako's root, or perhaps an Axe slow to enable that, or maybe Univoy's ult.
You saw Kino trying to lay down one of the hooks, not going to connect there, and that is going to be Alpha. Just going to go back to the base for now. And so is AHQ. No one's picking up anything on the map when someone goes back. I'm starting to lose it.
I'm shocked.
These two teams,
I'm shocked.
They don't do anything. Come on.
This is so weird because, again, if we look at the first 2 games that these two teams managed to fight, it's Uniboy constantly visiting bot side with Kongye, and that's how they get the lead. This time around, it's so different, and I think it's also contributing to the fact that this is the composition that they assembled, and they're just anticipating for Alpha to pull the trigger first. And that's the reason why we have 1 kill after 30 minutes in this match.
Yeah, the fact we've only had 1 kill in 30 minutes, I have so many questions. I don't understand, because HQ is the kind of team that knows when the openings are there, and especially in that mid lane fight or skirmish. It wasn't even a fight. It's when you have Kino using his ultimate, you have the bullet time coming out from the Misfortune. Cool, that should be go time on the side of AHQ when those are both banned there, and you even said it's requiring Alpha to be the ones to make the first play and make the misstep for AHQ to try and go in aggressively, but now it's just back into this mid lane ARAM pretty much, where everyone's just clearing out waves, and we're not even going to get to a point where we have an Elder Drake for another 10 minutes because no teams have been able to secure Dragon control.
Exactly, because they've been getting 2 Dragon apiece. This could be the fight that we're waiting for.
Here we go. Are they actually going to go for it? No, it just gets taken. Alpha can just track back through the mid lane, and AHQ let this one go.
They have no means of engage, because if they use Uniboy or that petrifying gaze, Uniboy will be put at risk. Zhonya's is complete at least, so if they want to be a little bit more brave, and perhaps that could be the call, but you're endangering your life vest when it comes to the later parts of the game.
There we go. Kino finally lands a hook directly onto Civ. Civ gets taken back low, but then he gets eaten up by the Kench immediately when he pops his ultimate. And they can't really respond now to the fight because Civ isn't able to frontline.
I'm losing my mind because this is such an evolution from Alpha. They're still staying in this part of the map. They're hoping for a pickup, a pickoff.
Oh, Assassin trying to get a big burst, and whoo, Kongya, all right. That is scary. The fact that he's gone, again, Black Cleaver and the Warrior in chat, he's not a very tanky Olaf at this point in the game, and that Corki can get a big upfront burst just because of the combined magic and physical damage. Like that, AHQ have to just clear this one out as Alpha may finally be looking at a Baron with Kongya being chunked as low as he was. There we go, Engage comes out, Ysera going to get down low, ends up popping his gray health immediately, still able to fight back, and Alpha are going to get forced off the Baron somehow. And there's Catchung Assassin just going back into the jungle to farm.
It's like one of those things. You waited so long for this opportunity, And since they're quite even, actually Alpha again in the lead when it comes to map control and as well as the gold. Kongye has to run for the hills.
Oh, Kongye forced the flash away, and you saw that crit connecting, and it feels like Alpha kind of know now that, oh, Uniboy, he tried to pull the trigger a little bit early to catch Rock off guard, ends up fanning his ultimate. And you can feel that Alpha almost feel like they have more control now. They feel like they are strong, but they're going to head back to base.
I am amazed. There's just so many things going on in a way where it's like internally. It's not necessarily in the map, but it's just internally. AHQ, again, we mentioned they had to play with this draft. They're stuck with this draft. No means of long range engage. And for this, makes me wonder if AHQ will decide to at least build Shirelias to have that sort of engage in a way of overrunning them. That's basically the only thing that I can see right now if they want to start something and if they're comfortable already. Or else they're not able to reach Alpha because they have better range and they've better poke.
I don't care what they build. I just care that they hit the damn go button during one of these fights, because
they can't.
Neither one of these teams want to do anything, it seems. Alpha has started to show a little bit of life, but AHQ just go back into this mid lane, just gotta clear everything out. Here we go. Engage comes back out once again. Dredgelard is going to be used. A decent amount of damage coming down. Uniboy, though, gets himself to safety. Ysera, though, is just so damn tanky on this Kench. They can't even kill him. Uniboy able to get the petrifying gaze. Assassin not able to find a crit off the auto attack to take him down. And Wako now stepping forward, pretty aggressive on this Senna. And no one falls again.
My mouth, or rather my jaw, just dropped watching the entirety of that fight. HQ, though, is split pushing a bot side, so they can't exactly commit. Oh, Wako!
Oh, Ysera, this is aggressive. He jumps into the middle of three people, only to just get knocked out immediately. Has to go into his gray health right away. Unfortunately, he's finally going to get taken down, and there we go. Magical number. We have doubled our kills only after 35 minutes of bloody play coming out as Alpha finally take down this Kench.
We're on our way to the longest game. The last time I believe it was 46 minutes, and there is still no clear winner, except this could end in an interesting manner where whoever wins the team fight later on will win the game. And I'm scared for Alpha.
Oh, here we go. Alpha, though, they're still going to be aggressive here as Civ just gets chunked so low. He's not a tanky front line. There we go, though. Uniboy ends up using Petrifying Gaze. Bullet Time comes out, does a decent amount of damage, and is able to take down Civ. Here comes the rest of Alpha. Exhaust is there, though, and Rock is going to get kited back if he's not careful. Catjug still looking for the possible flank over toward the side. Rock going down very low by the Leandres is not going to fall. And there you go. Alpha now find the third kill of the game at 36 minutes.
That's 11 seconds on the clock for Dragon Solo for Alpha. They have to reset because waves are shoving in favor of HQ in every single lane. So they can't exactly fully commit to anything just yet because they are at risk of losing an inhibitor if all things fail. So let's take a look at this again. It's Ysera's call for that Abyssal Voyage. And he's stuck there even though they want to just turn back time and not make that call anymore, and that's the reason why they lost the support and enable Alpha to enter this Baron play. Yeah,
because unfortunately, like for AHQ, you've waited too long to try and contest anything here. The fact that Civ is face-checking a rush without even putting down ward vision is weird enough, and then at least Uniboy's trying his hardest here to try and carry back this fight, but he can't even get within range without Assassin trying to just jump on him. HQ, though, they're going to go ahead and take their third dragon to extend our Elder Drake timer to 45 minutes.
I am loving this game in a way that it's so different, especially for both of these teams. And you can tell there's a lot of respect, but as the game progresses, you can tell that there's going to be a lot of frustration because, especially for AHQ, you are second place currently in the PCS standings, rather, for the round robin. You dropped towards the lower bracket, and now you're having a hard time in this match in particular against Alpha, with Alpha now starting the Baron for the second time.
And there's package available here for Assassin. He's going to try and kite back, but in goes again a very aggressive package, and they take down the Senna immediately as Ysera doesn't even get a Devour off, and that might be finally the opening for Alpha here to take down the Baron at 37.5 minutes.
Someone pinch me! Is this really happening? AHQ 2-0 and Alpha now, they are getting picks here and there. Wako and Sarah down with long death timers at this point of the match. Now even getting Baron, and as well as that mid lane is just about to fall because of the minions at the 37-minute mark. That's an outer tower just falling down just now.
And back to the replay here, where unfortunately there's nothing this poor Senna can really do, because unfortunately that spell shield doesn't defend against the auto attacks.
Yeah, the crit's coming from Assassin too. There's just a lot of safety for the backline, and we did mention that this AHQ composition is very reactionary. It's not exactly made to dive the backline, so you can be a little bit creative, perhaps, with a Sarah using the Abyssal Voyage for the backline. Unfortunately, this will leave your backline exposed. So with that, you have to make a choice.
It's a bunch of weird choices here. I just realized that Wako is up 3 levels too on this Misfortune, because this poor down 3 levels compared to Atlan at this point, because he hasn't been really able to farm as they've been clearing out waves for the last 10 minutes in mid lane, and finally we're starting to see this AHQ composition starting to falter as top lane tower is going to get taken here by Assassin on the Corki. Kongu ended up going for his GA immediately, but okay, you're just going to die again, it seems, during these team fights. AHQ's composition and some of the item pickups are just questionable at best.
He wants a second life, definitely, especially at this point of the match where whoever might make the first mistake, actually it's AHQ right now who has to be a little bit more defensive, considering Alpha has been winning the past 3 skirmishes that we've seen so far.
Oh, Catchug gonna get caught out here, has to get himself to the tunnel, will be able to escape to safety, and even the PM, he comes on back over. He's flaunting the icon non-stop. His mid lane's gonna get pushed in by the rest of Alpha.
I love the surprise evolution from Alpha. It's like they specifically debated HQ. We're gonna lock in these usual picks. You can't exactly read what we're gonna do, and it's the complete opposite of what HQ was expecting. And with this said, they have full control, 5 kills over Alpha, no kills still for HQ. And yeah, there is a level lead when it comes to Alpha Squad. There's a 1 level, earlier it was a 2 level lead for Assassin over his counterpart, over Uniboy, and for Atlan, that's it. Woo! Okay, that is painful.
Yeah, Assassin just came in full force after a teleport. Meanwhile, Turret is gonna fall here in the mid lane as AHQ are gonna try and hold on a little bit longer. If they're able to hold on to all their inhibitors through this Baron buff, I'll actually be pretty impressed, but the rockets now coming out from Assassin. It's just too late. There's your dredge line immediately onto the Kench, and that is going to be the inhibitor falling here right at the end of the Baron buff as AHQ have to go back to the fountain to heal, and Alpha are going to go ahead and start taking the base.
At least all members are still complete for HQ side, but now they're dwindling the structures of HQ. They have to pull the trigger or else they're going to be inhibitor-less in the base.
That's going to be 3 inhibs falling on the side of AHQ as Alpha are able to finally rip it apart. They find themselves a 9,000 gold lead, and they're going to be possibly looking toward Cloud Soul in 20 seconds as AHQ. The one benefit is now they have to deal with 3 lanes, so they'll stop staying mid lane. That's at least my takeaway from this, is he'll be able to farm a bit more, but still, this is a rough display coming out here from AHQ.
It is, and unfortunately, it's kind of hard to get back to. I suppose it's going to be the last stand either in Elder Drake and wait for the inhibitors to spawn, and that's the time where they can perhaps make a do or die play. Now, the Alpha has Cloud Drake, and Alpha has Guardian Angel on Rock. He's going to be a little bit more brave. Mercurial Scepter. For the side of Assassin, well, that's going to be a little bit of more defense at least. And just a lot of pain, basically, coming from Alpha.
Assassin going to step forward, able to get rid of the first spell shield, make it 2, and now both spell shields are down. Kino gets the hook immediately onto Ysera. He's going to pop his gray health right away, gets himself back to safety. Uniboy gets knocked up, gets himself away with a flash, but now the push is going to come through from Alpha. It's going to be a flash forward Petrifying Gaze, but Alpha are able to sidestep away, and we've not been able to see one hit other than the one in mid lane. There comes your ultimate though, and it is AHQ able to find the first kill, but Bullet Time rains down and is able to find multiple targets. They get very low back into the fountain, but guess what? The Nexus is exposed, and Alpha are going to finally close out game 1.
We talked about momentum, but that doesn't matter. Alpha has completely changed their attitude when it comes to the game. Completely just, I am shocked. 20 minutes, 1 kill, and then suddenly they've managed to rattle AHQ. And this, I am happy about the results. This is unexpected, and I like it.
That was a whole lot of unexpected. That was a whole lot of, I don't know. I don't get the idea of trying to go for an ARAM for 15 minutes. I'm going to say this to both squads, by the way. I'll give it at least Alpha has a win condition in the end that they're going to scale up, but for AHQ, you have an Olaf. Try and make something happen early. I'm just a little displeased with that game 1 was not what you would call a great game of League of Legends.
I think they were just really opting for the counter ganks. I think that's what they were hoping for, but Kedjug just, okay, I'm gonna lock in this Rek'Sai, probably gonna gank once, but I'm just gonna power farm while you try to run around the map. And it worked so well because at some point, there was a 2-level lead either on the mid laner in the AD carry and as well as maybe even in the jungle. So at that point, Alpha just completely just turned different. Like, this is a team that I don't recognize, but at the same time, I'm happy.
Yeah, we'll see about that. We're going to go ahead and take a look at some of the replays. This was actually the first kind of big team fight in which Alpha was able to find good openings with and snowball a little bit from there.
That was a beautiful package. That was just cutting the escape path of whoever was going to be trapped in that area, and unfortunately, that was the AD carry. Okay, so they have at least the Renekton and the Olaf to bridge maybe early to mid, but then you're right, they didn't really do anything with that because they were expecting more on the counter ganks, and they were banking on Uniboy's scaling, but unfortunately, with the poke, you will not be able to survive the fights because once you're already half HP, as we can see from the pokes of Assassin, it's just the bullet time that will follow through with the damage, and you can't exactly put yourself in range to deal all your combos as maybe the Cassiopeia.
Well, there's also the issue there where the Senna is also, looking for that limitless scaling. That's the dream right there. But when you have to share experience in mid lane for 15 minutes, where he was level 13 to the misfortune of Atlan that was level 16, level 17. Just by the simple fact that Atlan went to a side lane to farm up and actually got solo experience. So the Senna just didn't really do anything. Sure, you get some souls, cool, but you do want those base stats within your leveling. So that was a bit of a weird one. In AHQ, they do get punished for their playstyles. Alpha is able to take game 1 overall, and I know for a lot of us, that's a bit of a shock, to say the very least. I was kind of expecting this one to be kind of a 2-0. I thought AHQ would kind of, wake up and smell, the ashes and see whether or not they're going to be here to play, but it seems like they're still sleeping. So we're going to go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, though, it is going to be game 2, and we'll see whether or not they can go ahead and tie up the series against Alpha.